In Game 1 against the Timberwolves, Luka Doncic had a really good individual performance, scoring an efficient 37 points. But despite that, the Lakers' offense struggled with only 95 points in the entire game, while Doncic was limited to just 1 assist. In this video, we're going to look at all the things Minnesota did to slow down LA's offense, and what adjustments the Lakers could make going forward. Now, like we saw in last year's playoffs, the T-Wolves' defensive length and size doesn't really bother Luka, where his blend of pace and strength allows him to get into the defense's body and chisel his way to spots. And while players like McDaniels and Gobert are way taller than him, Luka can still use that strength and low center of gravity to bump his way into buckets and fouls. Another big factor to Luka's scoring is his patience in traffic. Even after he beats his initial man, he's always reading the backline defense and finding windows to score. We'll see him here first attack to his left, then spin past Gobert. But as McDaniels rotates up, look how Doncic is going to slam the brakes and rise up for a soft push shot. And then of course, along with that downhill scoring, you also have to respect Luka's ability to separate behind the line for stepbacks.
Smith checked into the ball game.
So the combination of Luka's strength, pace in the paint, and ability to hit really difficult shots behind the line is going to make him a serious matchup problem throughout the series. But what about the Lakers' two other on-ball creators? First, I think Austin Reeves is going to be in for a rough series. Unlike Luka, Austin isn't really the most physical player with the ball. Off the dribble, instead of initiating contact, he really leans on his shifty handle to both break down the defense and create space. But when you're being hogged by players that are longer, stronger, and faster than you, that ability to create space off the dribble doesn't really play a huge factor. And it led to Reeves taking a bunch of tough contested shots off the dribble, which has never been the strongest part of his game. And while he did have some success going at matchups in open space, again, pretty much all his looks were deep contested pull-ups.
23 points. Austin Reeves with a deep pull.
Now, probably the most puzzling part of this game was the struggles of LeBron James. Similar to Reeves, the T-Wolves' length and size gave him all types of problems. First, he was unable to put consistent pressure on the rim. Whether it was Naz Reid, Julius Randle, or Gobert guarding him in isolation, they had no problem staying in front and funneling him into long twos. And if James was able to turn the corner and get all the way to the rim, he didn't have the lift to elevate and finish over the T-Wolves' size. Watch him hit a nice right to left crossover on Gobert to then get him on his hip in the paint. From this spot, this should be a routine bump and finish, but look how LeBron gets no lift, and this layup gets swatted off the glass. Now, some people may chalk this up to LeBron being 40, but if he's unable to attack and finish at the rim throughout this series, it's pretty much a wrap for LA. In the second half, one small adjustment LA made was to put James in pick and roll, but again, he wasn't able to turn the corner and create any meaningful breakdowns. Look how Ant's able to slide with James as he tries to refuse his screen. Then LA is going to pull Finney Smith up into his screen to target Mike Conley. But because James is pushed 35 feet out and Minnesota is loaded up in gap, there's just no good options from the spot, which leads to a Rui Hachimura isolation in the corner. And then if James was able to turn the corner, the T-Wolves had no problem switching these screens and playing him straight up, which either led to a long two or more standstill offense. So while Luka found success isolating an open space, I still don't think this is going to be a sustainable way for LA to play going forward. Because sure, you could play through Doncic the entire game, but that's also going to lead to your other star players standing around. Plus, it's also going to make the Lakers' play style very predictable. So if LeBron and Reeves can't consistently generate good offense in isolation or pick and roll, what adjustments can LA make to jumpstart their offense? Now, the first and obvious thing they can do is get out in transition. Throughout the regular season this year, LA averaged over 21 points per game on the break, but in game 1, they had just 10 points. Now, to be fair, the pace of playoff basketball is typically slower, but in order for LA to get some easy points through the course of games, they're going to have to come somewhere close to their par with their numbers in transition. And a lot of this comes down to their defensive focus and effort, being able to get stops or force turnovers, to then push the ball and get easy buckets in the open floor. And this is where I think LeBron is still one of the best players in the world.
Puts his shoulder down, put his head down.
But regardless of what LA does in transition, they're still going to have to find ways to score in the half court. And one way they can work around Minnesota's size and length is to force breakdowns and scrambles. One of the biggest strengths in LA's roster is that they have multiple players who can both shoot and put the ball down to attack rotations. So they're going to have to find ways to pull the defense towards a certain action to then move the ball and force the defense into a scramble. And one way they could do this is to use more of these off-ball screening actions, which could both create breakdowns off the ball, plus give your creators more space to play with on the ball. Look how Reeves is going to curl off this back screen, giving Luka the space for a practice shot. I also thought LA could have been a little more aggressive with attacking closeouts off the catch. There were a couple of times where Minnesota was forced to rotate out towards the perimeter, but LA elected to settle for threes or hold the ball. Look how Doncic is going to force Gobert into a deep drop, then kick the ball out to Hachimura. With Rui closing out and a shooter spotting up in the ball side corner, this should be an aggressive rip to his right for Rui, but he instead holds the ball and gives it up. And I thought LA did miss on a few opportunities to capitalize on advantages by either settling for threes or with just flat out poor decision making. Take this play for example. Luka's going to draw two towards the ball, then he's going to spray it across to Hachimura. From this spot, the Lakers have a 3-on-2 advantage, and they should at least find a way to get a shot off here.
One more to James, one more.
And then if the Lakers are able to create mismatches for one of their playmakers, their decision making and spacing has to be on point. The Lakers on this play are able to get Alexander Walker matched up on James. And look how heavily Minnesota's defense shifts over. But because Reeves is camping out towards the top of the key, McDaniels is able to defend two players and get a hand on the skip pass. So from a matchup standpoint in game 1, Luca Doncic was the only player for LA who looked truly comfortable. And I think Minnesota's physicality and length is going to continue to give Reeves and James some problems. I think in order for LA to get their offense going, they're going to have to find ways to get out and run, create breakdowns and advantages off the ball with cutting and movement. And when they put Minnesota at a disadvantage, their decision making and spacing has to be super sharp. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.